Short summary of Redemption Road by Elma Shaw. Elma Shaw's Redemption Road, The Quest for Peace and Justice in Liberia, 2008, explores the healing journey of Bendu Lewis and other survivors of the Liberian Civil War as they wrestle with painful memories while striving for closure, justice, and reconciliation. The story, largely centered on Bendu, unfolds during Charles Taylor's administration, a time when Liberians were still grappling with the lingering scars of conflict. At the outset, we meet Bendu Lewis, a woman in her late 20s. Her family is holding a memorial to mark 10 years since the death of Granny May, who had perished in Charlu town during the war. Bendu, who was with her grandmother at the time, provides vivid details of her passing, but hides the truth from her relatives. Haunted by guilt and silenced by her own war experiences at Juluma camp, where she endured atrocities and also participated in disturbing acts, she cannot bring herself to disclose the whole story. Nearly a decade later, Bendu continues to live under the weight of trauma. She now directs an NGO, Peace in Practice, dedicated to rehabilitating other war victims, yet she herself remains emotionally bound by her past. Everything changes when she unexpectedly encounters Commander Cobra, now living under the name Moses Vani, the very man responsible for much of her suffering in Juluma. This meeting triggers recurring nightmares and reopens old wounds. She eventually confides in her family and close friends about her encounter with Vani and decides to seek justice, despite her colleague Agnes's warning that pursuing him legally would be fruitless. Her fears are confirmed when the police prove unable to build a case strong enough to indict him. When Vani learns of Bendu's legal pursuit, he retaliates by abducting her. Blindfolded and taken to a lagoon, Bendu suffers repeated threats and assaults. Vani attempts to use her own hidden wartime deeds as blackmail, threatening to expose her to her family and community. He eventually tries to kill her, but she narrowly escapes. Severely injured, she makes it to Calvin's home and is then taken to a hospital. There, Bendu decides to strip Vani of his power over her by openly confessing to her family and friends what she had endured and done during the war. Among the revelations is that she bore a child in Juluma, a baby she abandoned just months after birth. Though deeply shaken, her family stands beside her. She moves into Siata's house, while she recovers and later learns of Commander Cobra's death. Her mother, Eva Lewis, travels from the United States to support her, infusing her with renewed hope and confidence. Eva reassures Bendu that her lost daughter might still be found and begins preparing her emotionally for motherhood once again. Meanwhile, Calvin and Agnes strengthen their support, staying by her side. This act of confession marks the beginning of Bendu's true journey toward redemption. She later embarks on a search for her daughter, and with the help of the International Committee of the Red Cross, they are finally reunited. She also investigates her brother Benji's death during the 1980 coup d'état, learning that his sacrifice as a young boy had preserved the lives of herself, Siata, and Calvin. To further cleanse herself of lingering pain, Bendu writes a symbolic letter addressed to those who harmed her during the war, releasing her bitterness. Other characters also find their own paths to healing. Calvin achieves closure when he covers the Sierra Leone War Crimes Tribunal in Freetown and later establishes a scholarship program for Liberian children, shedding his earlier detachment from the plight of his people. Temne pursues her healing by writing to the mother who once betrayed her to soldiers. She bravely discloses her HIV-positive status, and with the help of Peace in Practice, embraces her condition while becoming a peer counselor, channeling her struggles into uplifting others. Siata, on her part, finally confronts the realities of life in a post-war Liberia, after witnessing fresh violence in Gardnersville. She also severs ties with her unfaithful husband, Terence, choosing independence over silent endurance. Their mother, Eva, too, reconciles with the grief of losing Benji, clarifying to her daughters that her devotion to her late son never meant favoritism, but a grief she would have carried equally for any of them. In the end, Shaw weaves the different threads of trauma, resilience, and forgiveness into resolution. Each character reaches a form of closure, and Bendu's own story, marked by revelation, reconciliation, and reunion, becomes the clearest embodiment of the novel's redemptive vision.